This multi-millionaire says that you bought the wrong car. Let's find out.
Think about cars that are losing a lot of value.
Is there any other car out there that's losing a ton of value right now?
I mean, EVs are certainly the top of the peak when I think about cars that are losing a lot of value. Any big luxury cars always are losing a lot of value. Mercedes S-Classes and BMW 7 Series and cars like that. Those are just always kind of deeply
Teslas?
depreciating. But people go in knowing that.
Yeah. What about the Cybertruck? I saw you sold the gold one recently.
Yeah, for like 104 or something like that.
102.
Wow. That's nice.
Cybertrucks are definitely losing from where they were. But the demand is, the sales are actually more robust than I expected, considering they don't seem to be hard to come by new. No. I expected resale actually to drop further than it has already. I thought they'd be a 60, 70 by now, but they're not. But they're dropping for sure.
Yeah. If you want to buy something like the Mercedes S-Class or something like that, like a super nice Bentley, how many years, like when is the perfect time to buy it where you get the maximum amount of depreciation, but you still get like a nice new luxury car?
That's a great question. I think about this all the time because usually by the time it's gotten down to a price point where I would want to buy it, then reliability starts to become an issue, right? Like Bentleys, everybody wants a Bentley. That car's so cool, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're not spending $400. I mean, you lose $200,000 in an afternoon on that car, right? So then you think, okay, well, I'll get a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old one. Well, a 7-year-old Bentley's out of warranty. There's a lot of components in that car. They're expensive components. Then that's a dice roll. So it's like, I don't know. There is a right period in there, but it's probably different for each car and depends a little on the manufacturer's certified pre-owned warranty structure and your risk tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
Why are these cars so difficult to both maintain and fix? Like you would think that if you're spending a house on a car that it should be bulletproof, but it shouldn't have issues.
Totally. And the people who aren't in the market for cars like this always tell me that. Like a Rolls Royce Cullinan is $600,000, but it breaks all the time. It costs a lot to fix. That doesn't make sense. But you got to understand that ultimately reliability is not a major factor for decision making for a person who's buying this car. They will own this car for the original owner, who's the only person Bentley really cares about, right? They're going to own the car 3 or 4 years. They'll lease it or own the car for 3 or 4 years, and they will have the experience they want, which is a fast, powerful car with great technology and unbelievable, accoutrement, lighting throughout the car and all this beautiful stuff. Well, the third owner buys a car that's 12 years old, and those things that made it so appealing when it was new are now a liability. It's fast, while the powertrain is needlessly complicated and expensive to work on, and in some cases bespoke, right? The technology, which was so cool 10 years ago, now has aged and the screen doesn't work anymore, right? Mm-hmm. The cool lighting and all this other stuff, well, those things start to break and they're very expensive to fix, and in a lot of cases the parts aren't available anymore. And that.
So let me know in the comment section, is it not just easier to buy a second-hand car? Please like the video for the YouTube algorithm, but please let me know your thoughts.
That's kind of what happens. But Bentley doesn't care. By then the car's out of there.
Do you think technology is going to make it more difficult to resell cars in the future because it gets dated? It's like telling someone to go and buy an original iPhone these days. It's just it just functionally wouldn't work anymore without just replacing everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. They're doing all these over-the-air updates. One of the cool things about Tesla is the car is pretty simple, and so everything that needs to be updated kind of comes through the screen, right? I mean, there's hardware too, but I actually think that potentially the opposite could happen, as opposed to you get into an old 90s car and there's just buttons everywhere and it's stuff that doesn't work or you don't care about. Modern cars, these over-the-air updates may kind of save the car from going down that road entirely.
Before he finishes what he says, what I do know, because I've done a ton of research into Tesla, the over-the-air updates, Elon Musk was saying basically the value of the car will actually increase. Let me know if you agree with him or not. The value of the car will increase, of Teslas will increase due to the over-the-air update. Your car couldn't drive itself, boom, over the air update, now it drives itself. Your car couldn't do this, over the air, it does that. Whereas the old cars, those technology doesn't even exist.
But there will be some technology that these, like your Model 3 doesn't have and can't, right? That
like
wasn't built with, and so eventually you'll have to upgrade. But that's been the story of the car for 100 years,
It's like
Is there
iPhones.
any reason why they don't sell like newer Miatas or newer exciting cars manually? With manual transmission? I feel like there's such a demand for manual cars right now, and they sometimes will sell for a lot more than the automatic cars, like the older cars. Why don't they make any newer cars manual? Even like supercars, I feel like they just have paddles.
I think about it all the time. You could still get a Miata with a manual transmission, believe it or not, a brand new one. But it's a great question in a lot of ways, in part because the Ferraris on the used market and Porsches on the used market will sell for 2, 3, 4 times with a manual transmission what an automatic one will. And I have trouble understanding why, especially Ferrari and Lamborghini, Ferrari's a public company, why don't they go out and try to maximize what is obviously a market? I mean, you have people paying $300,000 for 20-year-old Ferraris where the manual version is $300,000 and the automatic is $100,000. There's clearly a huge demand. Why don't they just go and make new? I've never understood that. I'm thinking of this as a business, like make a limited run and charge $1 million. People will pay it. Porsche has proven that because Porsche does still make limited run manual cars and they cost a fortune. They sell for crazy money. And Ferrari and Lamborghini could be doing that too. And so could probably some other brands who have abandoned it.
Would it be possible to switch the transmissions?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
if you were an automaker and you're like, I'm going to buy up all of these old automatic cars, flip it to manual, and then make a profit.
Yeah, and in fact, Aston Martin has literally done that. Aston Martin,
Oh,
if
wow.
you have an auto, they have not themselves bought it, but if you have an automatic Aston Martin Vanquish, an original one from the early 2000s, you can send it to them. They will convert it to manual for you, and then they will ship it back to you.
How much does that cost?
50 grand. But there is a cottage industry has come up of automatic
Yeah.
Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Audi R8s of people converting them to manual transmission. It's interesting the automakers themselves have not gotten involved. They could probably make some real money doing it.
What's the reason for not doing it? That you could argue.
I guess the answer is the automakers say it's faster with the dual clutch automatics that they all have now. And Ferrari is all about speed, Lamborghini is all about speed, so we would not want to go backwards in terms of technology. Porsche tried to make the same argument. Porsche almost killed the manual transmission, but it became clear that people were paying up for them, and so they have come out with special cars that still have them. That's the automaker's argument. The truth is, it just costs a lot. Like to develop a transmission that is ultimately, by the end of manual transmission production, was 10% of cars. But I would argue that you could really pass those costs on to the consumer, and in a lot of cases, they would pay. I don't think Ferrari could make a general run manual transmission car anymore, but a limited to 150 unit manual Ferrari, people would lose it. People would pay whatever they wanted for that. And you can't tell me if they charged $2 million and they made 200 cars that they couldn't justify the development cost of the transmission is not more than the cost of that they would make from that. There's no way.
But before we go into that, one of my favorite things about running this podcast is getting to talk with so many.
from the best to become
that.
membership
Skip.
to masterization skills
Back.
with Epson, or
Back.
even take your
Come
Battle
on, this is
Scouts.
the longest ad.
So
Off.
Is
You get
this-
into Masterclass for
forget
sponsoring
that.
today's
The video's
episode.
done. All right, so let's see the comment section real quick, Doug, because recently one of the videos that's taken off is regards to like not buying a car, basically used cars and new cars and whatnot. So hence to why we made this video, and because this channel we're all about saving money, it makes sense. Doug is a kind of guy that will give you the ins and outs on how to buy a supercar while looking at the guy that's never been in a... Okay, I hear it. Car makers, to be honest with you, yeah, I'm gonna go to what I said earlier, which makes so much sense. Just buy a second-hand car. I'm sure there are gonna be some people in the comment section that's gonna disagree with me, but it just makes sense buying a used car and just making sure it's not on finance or anything. And then, just like the title of this video, the worst kind of cars to buy that would depreciate in value, just do a quick Google search and see which cars could kind of hold its value, buy it and use it until the wheels fall off, and then just get rid of it when it's time that it's no longer working, and then you just buy another one. It's a simple plan. For me, it makes sense. I don't know if that plan doesn't make sense, or if you like it or not. I guess let me know in the comment section down below, like I said. But yeah. But anyways, yeah. I'm very soon I'm buying a second-hand used car that's nice. You probably won't be able to tell, and you might even see on the channel. Anyways, like the video. Let me hear your thoughts. God bless.